is Jess. Welcome. Hey y'all, it's Jess. Welcome back to my channel. And today I wanted to talk about one of my main goals for this year. If you can tell by the title, it's a common video a lot of people have done, but I did start planning this, at least the list, in December of this past year. So I was like, 2020 is coming. Wouldn't it be creative to pick 20 books I need to read in 2020? Nigel, please, just eat your giraffe. There you go, giraffe. And so I looked at my shelves because I have a lot of books that I own that I haven't read, and I want to work on that list. And I tried to choose ones that were either really intimidating or ones that I haven't read for a long time that I've owned for a while to finally get to this year. Nigel, please. I didn't really put any kind of consequence for myself if I didn't read them, but so I would like to tell myself that by the end of the year, whatever books I haven't read on that list, I need to unhaul, but I don't know. I'm not gonna hold myself to it. So I don't know if you can see in the frame, and if you can see any Harry Potter related stuff, I just want to say that I do not support anything that J.K. Rowling has said, and I am in the process of trying to rearrange my shelves so that I could film here and they won't be in view. So if you notice anything, I'm not trying to say I support her in any way. I just wanted to film right here, and the lighting is not good there, but I'm gonna move it around, I promise. So I don't know if you can see, I've got the 20 books here, and I'm just gonna go through them really quickly and tell you the books that are on my list, and then I want to go into the ones that I've read and how I felt about them, what I loved, what I didn't, and some of those I'm gonna keep and some I'm gonna unhaul. So I'm just gonna go really quickly. I've got The Bronze Horseman by Paullina Simons, The Shadow of the Wind by Carlos Ruiz Zafón, A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms by George R.R. Martin, The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson, The Eye of the World by Robert Jordan, Winter Garden by Kristen Hanna. Some of these got messed up in my move, they're all warped. The Bear and the Nightingale by Katherine Arden. I really should know these authors better. Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin. The Battle of the Labyrinth by Riordan. This is the fourth one in the Percy Jackson series. Weird in a World What's Not by Jennifer Romolini. To Kill a Kingdom by Alexandra Christo. From Scratch by Tembi Locke. Ruin by John Gwynne. Oh my gosh. A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab. Karenina by Leo Tolstoy. Oh man. Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. Here we go, Mr. Squeaker. 1984 by George Orwell. The Time Traveler's Wife by Audrey Neffenegger. And finally, The Crow Girl by Erik Axelsson. So, which ones have I read? I think I've read exactly half. So I haven't read, I'm gonna have to edit this so I can figure out the ones I. So first off, this year I tackled Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy. I buddy read it with my friend Abby, and woof, it was an adventure. It is broken up into 8 parts, I think. The print is very small. I don't know if you can tell. Sir, making me ashy. No. Okay. So we tackled this in January. I don't know how long it took us. I feel like almost all of January it took us to read. The book is separated into 8 parts, and I learned that when it was originally released, it was released in parts in like the newspaper, so people read it part by part. Sit. So that makes sense. But this book is way too long. I'm not a huge fan of classics. Sit down, please. Sit. I'm not a huge fan of classics, but for some reason I bought Anna Karenina and I was like, I'm gonna read it. And I did. There were some parts I enjoyed. Like, it was actually pretty easy to read for a classic. Most classic literature I've read has been English lit. And I think is it vernacular? Is that the word? I don't know. It's on my wall. Sorry. Sometimes can be a little confusing for me. But this was written, and the translation was easy to read. My issue was that there were some times that he just became so tedious on things. Like, I remember there was like 20 pages about one of the characters literally cutting grass by hand, and I'm like, come on. And when you get to the halfway part, like we finished part 4, and I was like, okay, that could be the end of the story, and then there's 4 more parts. It just drags on and on. It's very about the day in, day out of people in Russia, and some of it was interesting and some of it was not. But the main character, Anna, I have so many notes about how much I don't like her. I think she's trifling as hell, and yeah, what a story. I don't know. I've seen some people say they want to read this, and I'm like, honestly, save yourself the time and just watch a movie, unless you're like really committed to reading classics. It's long, and I mean, I did it. It's done. So goodbye. Okay, then next I tackled A Darker Shade of Magic by V. Schwab. I've owned this entire trilogy for years and never read them. And of course, everyone in the book community hypes this up. It's like one of their favorite series of all time. So I read it and I was underwhelmed. I think that, one, it's categorized as adult fantasy, and I got questions because the characters are a little older, what, like 19, 20, 21, but the book does not have any other themes of adult fantasy at all. It's very simple. I would consider this YA. The story, the plot, just very simplistic, easily settled. Like, I even at the end of this book, I was like, why are there 2 more books? Like, it literally could have been 1 book. The premise sounded interesting with the 4 Londons, the magician, going between those, but the execution was just so poor. The characters are undeveloped. Lila Bard is so freaking annoying, and then I know that she's still in the next 2 books, and she's a large part of A Conjuring of Light or A Gathering of Shadows. I don't know which one's the second book, and I just didn't want to deal with that. I did try to read the second book, and I was bored, so I DNF'd it, and I'm unhauling this series, but I finally read it at least. And then I'm not really going in order because I can't remember the order I read them, but I did read 1984 by George Orwell. I'm pretty sure I had to read this in high school, and I probably read the Spark Notes, and Past Jessica was wise because this book was boring. The premise was excellent, but the execution was so dull. I'm like, so amazing that he wrote this story in like 1949 about the future, things that apply even today, even though he was referencing 1984. But besides like the opening, the rest of it, I was like, okay. So yeah, dull. I also read, oh my gosh, this dog is a mess. Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. Now, I know some people like swear by this series, and then some people have been less than thrilled with it, and I thought it was good. It's very much a foundational book. There is just a lot of setup for the next 2 in the trilogy, and I know there's an overall, she has like a lot of series in this world. So I did enjoy it. It was really slow, but then things started to tie towards the end, and you can see where it built itself up for the next book. And I do like Fizz as a character and interested in like the magic that is in this world and that he has, but it just is not some like fast-paced, action-packed fantasy. So if you're gonna read that, just be aware. I do have the second book that I'm gonna try to get to this month, because I have a bad habit of starting a series and then not continuing for a long time. So I didn't mind this one, and I hope they continue to get better. Then I read, or I'm saying then, again, I don't remember the order, but I read The Bear and the Nightingale by Katherine Arden. And so many people, especially on Bookstagram, have always talked so highly about this book. Like, it's amazing, and it's like their favorite book ever. And I got it for Christmas a couple years ago, and finally read it, and I loved it. It is so like this atmospheric and whimsical and magical, and like books set in Russia, Russian inspired stories I've always loved for some reason, and this was just everything that I wanted. The main character, was it Vasya? I loved her. Like, she made mistakes and sometimes she was frustrating, but she was like strong-willed and not this like classic I'm beautiful, but I don't really know I am kind of girl. Like, I really love this. And so I didn't own the second 2, had to get those. I did finish the trilogy, which I think I'm going to plan on at the end of the year, do a video about series I finished this year. And I loved them all. The second book, The Girl in the Tower, is my favorite, but I was really pleasantly surprised, and I'm so glad that the hype was real for this one. Nigel, could you please? Woo! Okay, The Time Traveler's Wife.
Oh! Ah, the ghetto! The ghetto.
Well, finally read this. I was doing a buddy review with my friend Kara, and I DNF'd this. I have owned this book probably the longest out of any other book I've owned. I've moved I don't know how many times, and this has always made the move with me. I don't know why. I just didn't give up on it, but I was like, I'm going to read it. And I finally did, and it was terrible when I read of it. The main character, I don't even remember his name, Henry, is a time traveler, and he meets his wife, Claire, but when she's really young and he's old, I feel like he's like 40 and she's like 9, and I just think that's fucking weird. And then there's all these other times, like he meets throughout different times in her life when he's a certain age, she's a certain age, and he goes back and he sees himself at different ages, and one time he goes back to his teenage self who is pleasuring himself in the bed, and I'm like, why did you even need to write that? Hey y'all, editing Jessica here. Sorry, I look a mess and my eyes are swollen, but I wanted to correct what I said about Time Traveler's Wife because I still have this book, and so I wanted to go back and look at it, and I pulled up a timeline online. So Henry meets Claire when he is 36 and she's 6, and not to mention he shows up naked in the meadow. She's 6. He's 36. There are other times he meets her. He's like 45. She's 13. He like either picks her up or takes her to a party. She's like 16 and he's like 32. He meets her grandmother, and I forgot exactly what happened. Like, he basically explains how he's from her future and grandma's just okay with it, and I'm like, bullshit. It's so weird. And Claire's family has, like, I don't know if she's a maid or someone who's helping in the house, and she's black, and I do not like the way she's portrayed. Here's somehow how they have her talking in the book. You never know it, you so thin, I'm gonna feed you up. And then she's like, all white, spelled A-W-R-I-G-H-T then. Now scat so I can get on here. Like, when was this book written? Supposed to be 1991. Come on now. Then also the part I was talking about with himself. So it's 1978 and he's 15. It's both of him. One's 15 and the other's 15. Whatever, I don't know. Make it make sense. So he doesn't walk in on himself, pleasuring himself. He and himself are together because he says, I'm in my bedroom with myself. He's here from next March. We are doing what we often do when we have a little privacy, when it's cold out, when both of us are past puberty and haven't quite gotten around to actual girls yet. I think most people would do this if they had the sort of opportunities I have. I mean, I'm not gay or anything.
I am disgusted because you're a grown-ass woman. You had a choice.
I think I read up to page 200 and that was enough. I just thought it was terrible, so I didn't even waste any more time, and this has got to go. Then I read To Kill a Kingdom. Well, I started it. It also was dull to me, and it's just a very young YA story that I wasn't interested in, so I DNF'd it. I don't really have much else to say about that one. Here, you want a rubs? Here, lay down, I'll give you rubs. Okay. I read Strains of Humor by Laini Taylor, and I was a little apprehensive about this because people did warn me that it's very like flowery writing, but I loved it. I was really surprised. I loved her writing style and the characters in the story, and I plan on reading Muse of Nightmares this month, hopefully. I can't believe it's already like halfway through the month. What the heck? But I was really surprised by this. Really loved it, and this book is so beautiful. Okay, crazy. Oh well. Okay, got 2 more. I read Ruin by John Gwynne. This is the 3rd in the Faithful and the Fallen series, and I started this series last year or the year before last. I love the first one. I like the second one, and so I was nervous about this. And it's like 740 pages, but this was amazing. From page 1, there was just shit popping off. Like, it literally took off from the end of the last book, and it does have a cast of characters in the beginning to help me refresh my memory of who people were, because there are a lot of POVs. But that's also a positive, because with so many POVs, the chapters are short, which I love, because a chapter ends and you're like, I need a little bit more, and I need a little bit more. And I mean, action, but a lot of story and building things together with the prophecy and everything that happened in the first 2 books, and then build so well for the 4th, but I'm terrified to know what happens. The end of this book ruined me. Funny. And I ordered the 4th one because I didn't have it, which is called Wrath. So hopefully that gets here soon and I can finish this series. but this was so good, and I'm sad that I put it off for so long, but I was pleasantly surprised. And the last one is the 5th season by N.K. Jemisin. I have also owned this one for many years, and I tried to read it maybe a year or so ago, like doing a try chapter, and I just wasn't feeling it. And the second person, because it does start in like there is a point of view that's in second person, which I don't know if I've ever read before, but I kept going this time, and it's amazing. This book is so good. I'm gonna have to do a separate video, and of course I ordered the next 2 in this series because I only own the first one. I really played myself with this list. I have a lot of first books in the series, but some, like A Darker Shade of Magic, luckily I didn't love, so I don't have to read the rest of those books, but I did love these. Nigel, I did love this book. It's just so different. It's like adult fantasy, but also science fiction and dystopian. Like, I don't even know what genre to put it in. And the second person POV you get used to, and the characters, the twist, and I was like, wait, what? And how it all works together with the timeline. It's amazing. I cannot wait to continue. I hear the books get even better, so I'm excited but nervous, and this video is getting so chaotic. But those are the 10 that I have read so far this year. Out of the rest of them, I'm pretty nervous. The majority of the books I have left, a lot of them are over 500 pages. Only a couple of them are under 500 pages, but the ones I am really scared about, I think I'm going to be doing a buddy read of this next month, The Way of Kings. This is 1,001 pages, so I'm more scared just about the length, less about the story, because I enjoy Brandon Sanderson, so I think this is going to be great, but it's just a chunky book. And then, I don't know if y'all can see this because it's a mess right here now. Good job, sit down. Also, The Eye of the World, this is like 600 something pages in the Wheel of Time, which there's like, what, 13, 14 books in this series. I have the first 2, so depends on how I feel about these first 2, whether I would continue with the series, because that's a lot of books. Let's see, The Crow Girl, this is also a big one. I don't know, what is this, 800 pages? 700 pages. And The Bronze Horseman is 800 pages, so I have a lot of thick books to go by the end of the year, and I'm still reading books that I'm getting from the library. So many books, so little time. Every bookworm knows that struggle, but yeah, that's my goal. The 20 books I want to read in 2020. I'm halfway there. We're halfway through the year, so I think I'm on a good track there. And some of them I'm unhauling, and some I'm keeping, and then getting more books in the series, so it's kind of balancing out, but I'm just glad to finally get to some of these. I know my unread books were like over 100. Last time I counted, I haven't counted since then. I'm just trying to get it down to a manageable number, even though I don't know what manageable is. So yeah, that's my goal. Anyway, did you make any kind of overall reading goal for 2020? Let me know in the comments below, or let me know if you've read any of these books. And me and this crazy one are gonna go. So if you like this video, please like it, subscribe. My links to my social media are in my description, and also his. Nigel also has an Instagram, because I'm totally that dog mom. But thank you for watching, and have a great day. Bye.